Massive transfer shockwaves hitting Ibrox. Jesurun Rak-Sakyi wants the move to Glasgow and Russell Martin is pushing hard to get it done. But that's not all. Hamza Igamane could be out the door in a mega money move. Meanwhile, McCorland edges closer to an Ibrox exit as foreign clubs circle like sharks. And Ben Davies, a return to Birmingham, might be back on the cards as Martin makes ruthless defensive decisions. This episode is packed with drama, big money moves, and one transfer saga that could define our entire season. You need to see this through to the end. It's looking more and more like McCorland's time at Ibrox is ticking down. The 22-year-old Northern Ireland international, who showed flashes of potential last season, appears to be edging closer to the exit door as reports swirl about a move to Aris, with St. Louis City from the MLS also keen to get their mitts on him. Now, this isn't just speculation. It's Chris Jack that's saying the deal to Aris is closer and that there's work going on in the background as we speak. The wheels are turning even if nothing is being rubber-stamped just yet. McCorland's numbers don't exactly scream first-team regular. 25 appearances, 3 goals, 1 assist. And it's clear he slipped down the pecking order. Russell Martin's left him out the squad entirely for the Champions League qualifier against Panathinaikos. And let's be honest, that tells its own story, especially when you've got Finlay Curtis, a proper young talent, taking his chance in that same game with a cracking goal and a performance that had Ibrox buzzing. And with Martin preferring Kieran Dowell in the starting lineup, McCorland must know the writing's on the wall. The arrival of JD Gassama from Sheffield Wednesday brings in a bit of fresh energy, but it's no like the attack is stacked with world beaters. You could argue we still need a touch more firepower up front, and yet McCorland can't even get a sniff. That says it all. If a move's on the table and it brings in a few £1 million for someone who clearly is nigh part of the plans, it might make sense for both sides. But there's still a nagging feeling. Was McCorland ever really given a fair crack at it under this new regime? If McCorland explodes abroad and Rangers are still lacking depth in attack come October, who takes the blame? The board, the manager, or was the lad never cut out for Ibrox in the first place? Hamza Igamane, the Moroccan powerhouse who lit up Ibrox last season with 12 goals in the league and another 4 in Europe, is suddenly at the center of a potential mega money move, with LOSC Lille hovering like seagulls over a chippy. The French side have had their eye on him for weeks, but the board at Ibrox are playing hardball, and rightly so. You don't let a 22-year-old international striker walk out the door for pennies. We're talking over £15 million before anybody at Rangers even picks up the phone. That's the message loud and clear from Stevie Clifford of Four Lads Had a Dream, and you'd struggle to find many disagreeing. Now, Igamane missed the Middlesbrough friendly with a wee knock, nothing major, but it stirred the pot with folk wondering if that absence was about fitness or transfer negotiations quietly simmering in the background. His numbers speak for themselves. 33 league appearances, 12 goals, 10 more in Europe with 4 goals to boot. That's serious output for someone still learning the game, and it's no surprise there's a queue formed in outside Ibrox. But here's the real crux. If he goes, who replaces him? Danilo had his chance against Panathinaikos and fluffed it. Dezers is still around but has yet to truly convince under pressure. And if both Igamane and Danilo aren't available or firing, then you're left with hope and prayer. That's know what wins titles or gets you through tough away legs in Europe. Russell Martin's got to be thinking ahead. If the board cash in, and let's not kid ourselves, every player has their price, then he needs a proper number 9 lined up, ready to go. None of this panic buy stuff on deadline day. You don't sell a crown jewel like Igamane and go bargain hunting at the last minute. If Rangers sell Igamane for over £15 million and fail to bring in a top-class striker to replace him, is that ambition? Or is that daylight robbery of our hopes for silverware? Now here's a twist that could rattle more than a few cages south of the border. Jesurun Rak-Sakyi, one of Crystal Palace's brightest academy stars, has reportedly told his people he prefers a move to Rangers over Southampton, and that's despite Saints bending over backwards to try and tempt him to St. Mary's. The 22-year-old winger, fresh off a solid season with Sheffield United in the Championship, seems to have his sights firmly set on Ibrox. And that's not just talk. It's coming straight from Alan Nixon's reporting. This is a lad that's already shown his pedigree. 15 goals and 8 assists at Charlton, 7 goals and 2 assists with the Blades, and all this while barely scratching the surface of his potential. Yet despite all that, he's only managed 10 senior appearances for Palace, with 0 goal contributions. You could say he's a Rolls-Royce left in the garage of them, and now it's Rangers that could be getting the keys. Russell Martin knows Rak-Sakyi well. He tried to sign him for Southampton before and now wants to bring him to Ibrox. That's not coincidence, that's conviction. But here's the snag. Palace are asking for £10 million. Rangers offered a season-long loan with an option to buy next summer. Deal rejected, so it becomes a waiting game or a pivot. Because while Rak-Sakyi might have the flair, there's another name that's quietly gaining ground. Abu Kamara of Hull City. Just 21 better stats in the Championship, more consistent creative output, and here's the kicker, he'd likely cost less than half of what Palace are demanding. We're talking 38.9% shots on target, 74 shot-creating actions, over 500 carries. The lad's numbers don't just speak, they scream potential. Even Connor Shaughnessy called him dangerous, and that's from someone who's shared a pitch with him. Martin has a decision to make. Splash out for the prestige of a Palace prospect, or bring in the numbers man with proven consistency and more upside for the money. Whichever way it goes, one thing's clear, Rak-Sakyi choosing Rangers over Southampton is a power move. It tells the rest of the island that Glasgow's pool is still mighty, that Ibrox isn't just a step up in football, it's a stage. If Rangers can only sign one, Rak-Sakyi or Kamara, would you rather pay more for potential and profile, or save the cash for a player who's already outperformed him? Who's the smarter signing, and who would you regret not taking if they explode elsewhere? Well, this one's got a bit of unfinished business written all over it. Ben Davies, the ever-reliable defender who was a rock for Birmingham City during their League One title-winning campaign, is back at Ibrox, but not exactly front and center in Russell Martin's plans. After 44 appearances and 23 clean sheets for the Blues, you'd have thought he was nailed on for either a permanent deal or at least another run down south. But no, there was no option to buy in his loan deal, and with an injury keeping him sidelined through pre-season, he's now stuck in limbo. Meanwhile, Rangers have already bolstered the back line, bringing in fresh faces to give Martin more options, which raises the question, where exactly does Ben Davies fit in at Ibrox now? Because if you're not match fit, not involved in the warm-up games, and your loan club is openly saying, we'd maybe take him back, then you've got to ask if the writing's already on the wall. Chris Davies, now in charge at Birmingham, hasn't ruled out another move for him. Even with 4 centre-backs already in his squad, he's clearly leaving the door ajar. You don't do that unless the lad made a serious impression, and Ben Davies did just that. Steady, dependable, and rarely put a foot wrong. Here's the thing, though. If Rangers are trying to build a squad to win the title back and make real inroads in Europe, then every place in the squad matters. You can't carry passengers, even good ones, if they're not going to feature or fit the new system. And if there's a decent offer on the table for someone not in the manager's plans, it might be time to cash in. If Ben Davies is surplus to requirements at Ibrox and Birmingham want him back, should Rangers sell him now and reinvest, or keep him as cover and risk another wage drain on a player who might never play under Martin. If you haven't seen yesterday's video yet, you're missing out. Explosive news about Rangers that'll leave every fan stunned. Go check it out now.